Major Mohommed Ali Shah joins us on the broadcast at this point. A very good morning to you, Major Shah. Take us through the details of how these boats, which have now been unveiled by DRDO, will be helping us bolster our security.
Firstly, these boats are unmanned, so there would not be any soldier manning it on ground. It would be remote control, so that gives us more accessibility. We can maneuver and we can take the boats anywhere we want to. Now, these boats are very useful for recce and surveillance. They have radars in it, so they can do their recce and surveillance at the same time. If need be, in case of an insurgence, there is a weapon also. There is an option of actually the vehicle being armed, the vessel, the ship being armed. So these ships, which have been tried yesterday by the DRDO, they will play a very useful role in our recce and surveillance, in safeguarding our seas, in our national frontiers, without the risk of losing any soldiers, any sailors, or putting them at risk. So it's certainly, when you have a vessel like this, it is a great boon and a great advantage.
Major Shah, help us also understand how important is it that we bolster our maritime security through these smaller, not just naval ships and aircraft lifters, but these smaller sort of ships and boats.
Very well said by you. In fact, they say whoever controls the seas controls the land. It's common sense. It's very pertinent that way. So yes, how do we bolster? How do we strengthen our security, our maritime security? Well, we have our Indian Navy, we have our Coast Guard, we have our vessels safeguarding our seas, no doubt about that. But apart from that, what we are doing right now is we are doing perfectly fine. We are not going wrong anywhere. We are safeguarding our seas. Our Coast Guard is doing a fine job. Our Navy is doing a fine job. And we just spoke about the vessel, the unmanned vessel. That is a very good idea. Now, China, let's take their example. They had sent a ship, a vessel, which is used for recce and surveillance, which had a radius of 750 kilometers, which means they had come to the port, the Hamdata port in Sri Lanka, which means that's John 1-5, which means they can easily see what is happening in some other country. They can easily make their own plans and their own strategies based on that. At the same time, PNS Temur came from Pakistan to Sri Lanka. Now, both of them came at the same time, almost in the same location. It cannot be a coincidence, obviously. So when such a situation arises, we have our radars, we have our surveillance, we have our surveillance equipment to tell us, to give us pre-warning signs. So that is how we get alert. And that is when we know that we always keep in mind that we are being spied upon. Let's keep it this way. Whether we are on high alert or whether we get a warning or not, we keep it as a protocol that we are being watched upon by the enemy, by adversary. Now, one way is keeping an alert, which we already are doing. Second way is getting the unmanned vehicles, which we have got, the unmanned vessels. Thirdly, yes, the Navy and the Coast Guard, which is manning the border, which is on alert all the time. And fourthly is strengthening our relationship with our neighbors so that we can have a good cordial, we can have a good understanding, we can have their support as well. But here we see on the South China Sea especially, China has been up to their mischievous activities, which they will never improve. They will in fact go on more aggressive with their misdemeanor, with their misbehavior, with their mischievous activities, but they are all being monitored. They are all being, we all know what they are up to. So that is one way of strengthening our maritime security, in fact.